I think we're beginning to uncover this empirical disagreement about what it is that's good for the individual and what it is that makes them happy. And I'll go back to something I raised I raised in the debate, which is this theory of Durkheim that now has been popularized by Jordan Peterson. But Durkheim argues that he's writing a book on suicide. He's trying to understand what brings individuals to suicide. And he coins this term, anomie, lack of law. And the argument is that individuals basically are healthy and happy when they find their place in a hierarchy. Within a loyalty group, in a certain place in a hierarchy, they compete and struggle in order to rise in the hierarchy, but they know where they are. They know who they are. The kids today like to say they know what their identity is because they associate themselves. Their self expands to take on, the leadership, the different layers, the past and the future of this particular hierarchy. And I completely agree with Yaron that some of these hierarchies are pernicious and oppressive and terrible, and some of them are better. What we might disagree about is that you can find human beings who are capable of becoming healthy and happy off by themselves without participating in this kind of structure. The minute that you accept, if you accept, that this is empirical reality about human beings, it's an iron law. You can't do anything. You can tell human beings that they can be free of all constraints all you want, and you can get them to do things that, as you say, dissolve their. They can have contempt for hierarchies. They can say, "I'm not going to serve the man. I'm going to, I'm just going to burn them all down." You can get them to get kids to say all of these things. You can get them either to be Marxists who are actively trying to overthrow and destroy the existing hierarchies, or you can make them some kind of liberal where they basically pretend the hierarchies don't exist. They just act like they're not there. In both cases, and it's not a coincidence that that's what universities teach, is your choice is either Marxist revolution or liberal ignoring of the hierarchies. In both cases, what you've done is you've eliminated the possibility that the young person will be able to find his or her place in a way that allows them to grow and exercise their love, their drive, their creativity in order to advance something constructive. You've eliminated it, and you've put the burden on them, kind of a Nietzschean burden, to just be the fountain of all values yourself, which, maybe some people can do it, but almost no one can do it. And I think that's empirically true. And so I think by telling them about their freedom rather than telling them about about the need to join into some traditionalist hierarchy that can be good and healthy for them, I think we're destroying them. I think we're destroying this generation and the last one and the next.
Yaron, is the burden of freedom destroying mankind?
What freedom? I mean, how many people are indeed free? Look, the problem is that we're caught up on political concepts, and we're moving into ethical issues, and I don't think it's right to tell people you're free, go do whatever the hell you want. Just use your emotions. Just go where you want to go. In the spur of the moment. Think short term. Don't think long term. Or don't think. Why think? One has to provide moral guidance. And morality here is crucial and crucially important. And part of taking responsibility for your own life is establishing a moral framework for your life. And what does it mean to live a good life? I mean, that's much more important in a sense of a question. And it is my belief that people can do that. They can find and choose the values necessary to achieve a good life, but they need guidance. They need guidance. This is why religion evolved, in my view, because people need guidance. So it says, Ayn Rand called religion a primitive form of philosophy. It was the original philosophy that provided people with some guidance about what to do and what not to do. And secular philosophy is supposed to do the same. And the problem is that I think religion and 99% of secular philosophy give people bad advice about what to do, and therefore they do bad stuff. And some of that sometimes, because when they do good stuff, it gets reinforced that we survive in spite of that. But ideas like Kant and Hegel and Marx and so on give young people awful advice about how to live and what to do. And as a consequence, really bad stuff happens. And the world in which we exist today, which we agree there are a lot of pathologies to it, there are a lot of bad stuff going on, in my view, is going the wrong way. In my view, are products of a set of ideas. On the one hand, I think Christian ideas. On the other hand, I think secular philosophical ideas that have driven this country and the world more generally in a really, really bad direction. And this is why what I do, because I think at the core of it, the only way to change it is not to impose a new set of ideas from the top, because I worry about who's going to be doing the imposition. Plus, I don't believe you can force people to be good. It's to challenge the ideas. It's to question the ideas. It's to present an alternative view of morality, an alternative set of moral principles, ultimately an alternative view of political principles. But it has to start with morality. If you don't, and my morality is centered on the individual and what the individual should do with his life in order to attain a good life. I believe that leads to happiness, but the good life, that's why it's good, right? The goal is survival and thriving and flourishing and happiness ultimately. But politics is a servant of that in the end. It's not an end in itself. So the real issue is, you asked before, what is the value of relationship? There's enormous value in relationship because we get values from other people. We don't produce all our values. We don't produce all our spiritual values. And we don't produce all our material values. Other people on a massive benefit to us because they produce values we can't. There's a massive division of labor in terms of values, not just in economics, but also in philosophy and elsewhere. It's why we have teachers. It's why we have moral teachers. Moral teachers are important to help guide us towards a good life. Not all of us are philosophers. But what I do demand, if you will, of individuals, so this is where I put a burden on people, right? Understand what you're doing, right? Don't embrace a moral teaching because it was tradition. Don't embrace a moral teaching because your parents embraced it. Don't embrace a moral teaching just because your teachers are teaching it. Challenge it. Think about it. Embrace it because you embrace it. You might be wrong. You might embrace the wrong one, but take moral responsibility. Take responsibility over your life by evaluating, testing, challenging what you have received and choosing what you're going to pursue. And I acknowledge empirically that most people don't do that. And this is why intellectual leadership is so important. This is why you want to get you want the voices in a culture to be good voices, so that those people who don't think for themselves end up being followers, but they end up being followers of somebody good versus followers of somebody bad. But for the thinkers in the world out there, who I think are the people who count, who the people who shape society.
Oh boy, no, shape society.
Wait a minute, not count in a sense that you can dismiss the lives of others, and because I'm, obviously I'm anti-coercion and anti-violence.
You sound like Plato.
But yes, I don't want to sound like Plato, but in a sense that they're the ones who end up shaping the world. They're the ones who end up shaping how the world behaves. I want those people to make choices about their values and not to just accept them based on tradition or based on commandment or based on where they happen to grow up.